episode 20. Who would have thought, eh? Who would have fucking thought? Shit. 20, the big 20. Halfway to 40. I heard somewhere once the metronome's playing on this thing and he's super annoying. Sorry, I want to stop that. I heard somewhere once, I don't know if this camera's level. No, it's not. I'm going to have to move it. There we go. I heard somewhere once it's 40 episodes and then you're legit. It's not until you get to episode 40 that your podcast is solidified. So I'm halfway there. A little bit more work to do, a little bit more talking trash to get to that point of being legit. But you know what? We're halfway there. Next week we'll be more than halfway there. Unless I record a double length one right now, that'll make me more than halfway, which I like. It's actually one of my strategies. Whenever, if you're ever exercising, right, and you've got say 6 rounds of like something that sucks. Or, just for example, keep it simple, 6 rounds of like a 20 cal air bike sprint with a minute rest. I always just mentally try and get past, try and get more than halfway. So I'll try and get 4 rounds done. Then it's like, you can take a bit of a breath and you've only got to suck it up for 2 more. So for me, getting over the halfway point is always the best. Prime example, today, right? It was horrible weather outside. And I was like, I don't really want to ride. I was going to ride my TT bike, and then I looked at the radar and I was like, I'm not riding outside. So I decided to ride on the trainer, and I had 90 Ks. So I was like, it's going to take me about 3 hours. So I jumped on the trainer and started riding, and I wanted to get off. I hate it. I hate riding on the trainer. It fucking sucks. And the worst part was, for the first like hour and 20, it was beautiful outside. Like, it was cold, but there was no rain. And I was like, you know what? I could be riding out there. I could be out there in that weather, riding around in the freedom of nature and not be stuck here on the trainer. And then it started to piss down, and I was like, you know what? I'm pretty happy inside. I'm pretty happy chilling, undercover, not having to deal with the rain. But not the point of the story. The point of the story is, I forgot. The point of the story is, I actually did forget. What were we talking about? There's a pimple on my arm. Shit, I'm sorry. I completely forgot. Wonderful. If this was live, at least someone could yell it out to me, yell out from the audience and be like, hey, dude, you were talking about this, this and that. That's right. Over the halfway mark. Yeah. So I was like, I wanted to get off after the first half an hour, and I was like, nope, get to an hour. And I was like, it's going to take me roughly 3 hours. You know what? Split it up. Hour, get off, have something to eat, take a break, get back on, another hour, get off, and then do the last hour. And then I was like, you know what? No, I want to get more than halfway done. So I did. I got to like an hour and a half, and I was initially in my thought, I was like, I'm going to change this session, because I was meant to do a 90k ride and a 12k run. And then I was like, I hate this trainer so much, I need to break it up. So I was like, you know what? I'll ride 60, run 6, then I'll ride 20, run 4, then ride 10 and run 2. And then I got to 60k. I got to the 60k mark, which was like an hour 40 in, and it started to absolutely piss down. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay on the bike for the 90. So yeah, I got to like just over 2 hours, got off, had a break, over the halfway mark, got back on, only had an hour left. It was great. And then I ran in the rain, which was, I finished my ride, and it wasn't raining for the last, 10, 15 minutes of my ride. And I was like, this is fantastic. I was looking outside. I was like, you know what? I'll get out there. I'll make my transition smooth, fast. I'll get out there and fucking hit the run ASAP. And then as soon as I finished my ride, it started pissing down, and the wind chill was fucking cold. And I was like, oh man, I have to run in this. I have to run 12k. And there was no substitute for it, because I was like, I could have done an extra hour on the bike, but there was no way in hell I was going to do that, because I was done with the fucking trainer. So I had to run 12k in the rain. And yeah, you know what? I just sucked it up and went out there. Like, I've done it hundreds of times before. And I was running in the rain, and I was like, I just started smiling and laughing, like smiling to myself and laughing. I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, I always find myself here. I always find myself in the middle of a freezing cold rainstorm, like wearing fucking bike shorts that are like tight as, soaked through with sweat and rain, and a t-shirt that is sticking to me because it's so wet. I was like, I always find myself here, and then I always end up running without a shirt on because it's pointless, and because I'm like running hot. But yeah, I was like, I just started smiling and laughing to myself. I always find myself in situations like this, you know, in the rain, no one else is out, just me and the rain. And I was like, you know what, this is what it's about. This is what I enjoy. I enjoy this shit. I enjoy being out there when no one else is out there. Like, the difference is, like, I could have done that while riding and I would probably feel the same way, but I don't like riding in the rain. It's not safe. Running's fine, but riding's not. Like, don't feel safe riding in the rain. I ride heaps slower. It's just not as, I don't know, it's risky. The risk for reward is way higher or way worse when you're riding in the wet than when you're running in the wet, obviously, because if you come off on the bike, you're doing 40, you're fucked. Whereas running, what are you going to do? So I always feel like super, super above the world, if you will, while running in the rain. It was fucking awesome. Got it done. Got Caitlin to pick me up, as usual, because I didn't want to run all the way back home. And then, yeah, I went to fucking Zendan, got a coffee and a treat. It was delicious. What else happened? I may as well go into what happened during this week. What did I do? Training was fucking good this week. Sorry, there's this pimple on my arm that I'm going to try and squeeze. I don't know if you guys are like me, but if there's a pimple and I know it's there, I have to get rid of it. All right, got it. It's all good. Move on. Carry on the show. Yeah, this week was good training week. I did train legs because I could only fit in 2 strength sessions this week. With the way my Ironman programming works, I was doing double sessions every day. So I was like, the only way I can fit in a strength session is to do it on Monday. So it was Monday. So I did it on Monday. Trashed my leg. No, might have been Monday or Tuesday, whatever. I trashed my legs for the whole week. It was great. I just did legs, did a bit of hinge as well as squat, and then I trained again, did upper body last night because that's when I could next fit it in. And boy, oh boy, I'm sore today. It's only just started setting in over the past couple of hours. So I reckon tomorrow will be even more interesting. Tomorrow will be even more interesting with that. But yeah, this week was good. I hit the sauna hard a couple of times. Yesterday, it was weird. I managed to rip out 30 minutes, no problem, on Monday, I think. And then Tuesday, it wasn't too bad. Then yesterday, I struggled so much. I put a bit of water on the sensor, so it made the heat, made it think it was cold, made it think it was cooler in there than it was, so it dialed up the heat. And I was sitting there, and I got to like 20 minutes, and I was like, I'm going to get out. And I was like, go to 23 minutes. It's not 25, but it's not 22. It's a little bit more than 22. So I was like, go to 23. Anyway, I ended up doing 25. I got out, and I was like, I got to sit down. So I sat down for like 2 minutes to try and collect my shit, because I was going to black out. It was rough. The sauna is like, I don't know. It's one of those things that it catches up so quick. You do 20 minutes, or you can do 15 minutes, no problem. Then you do like another 5. And then when you hit the 20-minute mark, especially when it's hot, you're like, this is going down. This is going south pretty quickly. So yeah, that was fun. I'm getting back into that, which is good. I always do it. I think I mentioned last week. I do it just to get rid of the chlorine out of my skin because I hate the itchiness and the smell of it. It's horrible. So I do that for that. Yeah, like I said, on the trainer today, didn't want to. I hate the trainer. I hate the trainer for sessions that aren't intervals. Because intervals are over quickly because it sucks, it hurts, and then you get a rest period, and then it hurts, and then you get a rest period, then it hurts, and you get rest, and then you're done. Whereas if I'm doing, like I did today, 90Ks on the trainer, it's like, I mean, it hurts at times, but most of the time you're just, cruising along to the course on Zwift, which is on my laptop. So it's not, it's not super interesting. But you know what? We got it done. I was lucky Rogan put out the podcast he did with Snoop Dogg this morning or today or last night, whatever. And I watched that, and man, it's entertaining. It is, so like 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's long as shit. I was just lucky that I spent 3 hours on the trainer, so I had time to listen to it and watch it. Otherwise, that probably would have taken me a few days to consume. But it's good. It's worth the watch. I did this week. I think I don't know. I wonder if anyone else does this shit, right? So I had a swim on Monday. Hang on. I just need to get my notepad out. so I can write shit down when it happens. Just so I don't have to, just so it doesn't take me as long to go back through and clip up the video, one thing, and make marks so you know where to skip to if you want to skip shit. It's funny because I wrote down the times for where to skip to stuff, and YouTube automatically categorizes it. I just wrote it in the notes, and I uploaded the video to YouTube and copied the notes, and it automatically clipped it up so you could skip to certain parts, which was fucking cool. So I'm gonna keep doing that. The video took ages to upload. It took so long. It took 3 days. So I don't know whether I want to keep the quality super high for the YouTube video or whether I knock it down a bit, but it took so long to upload. I was sitting there is it done yet? And then it wasn't. Cool story. But what I was gonna say, I fucking forgot again. You wouldn't believe it, would you? No, that's right. What I was gonna say is, I wonder if any of you guys actually do this. Okay, I had a swim earlier this week, and I swam 3Ks. But my watch recorded it as 3Ks or 3,025 meters. I didn't do the extra 25. I did exactly 3,000 meters. And that was in the back of my head all week. I finished Thursday's swim, and I was like, shit, I should have done an extra 75 to make it, bump it up to make it 100. And then, or I should have done an extra 100 to make it, an extra 100, I should have balanced it up. Anyway, I got to Friday and I was like, you know what, I've got to fix this. I've got to fix the universe. So what I did was, at the end of the session, I was like, you know what, I'm going to swim an extra 100 meters, but I'm going to stop my watch at 75 so that I, record the full 100, including the 25 from Monday and the 75 from Friday. And I balanced the universe. So overall, I did 9,100 meters for the week. I just had to balance it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fit, wouldn't be right. I'd look back and see that week and I'd be like, I cheated myself. 25 meters. Not good enough. Plus, I don't like looking at 25, 75, or 50. I like it to be 100. So if my swim was 3,025 or 3,050 meters, I would swim an extra 50 or an extra 75 just to make it look better. Tie it up in a neat bow. I wonder if anyone else does that kind of shit. I don't do that with running. I usually just run more. I'll always run 200, 300, 400 meters more. And if I'm at if it's say a 14.6k run, I'll run to 15. Even if it's 14.5, I'll weigh it up. I'll probably run further out just so that I'm forced to run that little bit extra on the way back and, get that extra K or get it to that next full kilometer. Which is wild because I know there are people that, would do that 500 meters would be their whole exercise. Whereas for me, it's just checks and balances, just pull it up to the next level. Happy days, make it look even, which is crazy, fucking bonkers for me to think that. Even with my riding, same deal. I'll always try and overshoot because I feel much better about myself if I rode 20 minutes more than I was supposed to. I would feel so much better about that than if I fell 3 minutes short, because I can't undershoot things. It's not right. It's just not right. It's just not where it's supposed to be. Right before starting this podcast, right, I feel like this is a prominent problem these days. I was sitting here procrastinating the start because that's what I like to do best. And I just started scrolling through reels and looking at stuff. And I got stuck in a hole for 5 or 10 minutes. I had to pull myself out. I was like, what are you doing? Start the fucking podcast, dickhead. Just pull yourself out of it. I know reels are super addictive and some of them are pretty funny and some of them, they just hook you. Once the algorithm gets you, it's hard to pull out. It's hard to pull yourself out. But you gotta fucking rip out. You can't just sit there in this, mindless loop of fucking entertaining videos. Although they are entertaining, you gotta rip yourself out. So I did that. I managed to pull myself out. But it got me thinking. I was like, it's pretty crazy, isn't it? That you can like this little device, this little thing here can get you and trap you in a mindless zombie state for ages. Like, for me, it was only 5 minutes. Don't worry, I've had like times where I've been caught for like half an hour and I'll be like, what are you doing? You've just achieved nothing. Just wasted your time. But like, I'd imagine there are a lot of people that get caught in that kind of shit for so long, dude. So long. Which is crazy. And it's not like Instagram, tries to prevent that. Instagram encourages it. Like, I was listening to, I can't remember whether it was a podcast or whether it was, I can't remember yet whether it was a podcast or whether it was like a video or a fucking movie or something, ironically, probably on YouTube. And it was just talking about how all these social media companies are just trying to fight for your attention and fight for your time, because the less time you spend engaging in Instagram or Facebook, or now it's called Meta, the less time you spend engaging on their platforms and engage on YouTube, the better it is for YouTube. So YouTube just looks at your life, your day as divided up into 24 hours. And they're like, all right, cool. How do we get them to watch our things for the longest amount of time? How do we get them to spend, most of that 24-hour period engaging with our shit and not Facebook and not Instagram? So then that's where the algorithms work. So with Instagram, it's like, and you start watching Reels, Instagram's like, how do we keep them here? How do we keep them from watching our shit and stop them from going and engaging on YouTube? So you're just treated like a fucking zombie, or a puppy, or they just wag a bone. They're like, come here, buddy, come here. And you come over there and you sit there and in front of the TV and you just watch it until they tell you you're done, or until you come to your own senses, or until you get hungry. Crazy, profound, scary, if you will. Imagine, then what happens if we get chips put in our brain? Then there's no like, oh, I don't need that. It's like, it's in there. So if they decide to like catch you and loop and keep looping shit for you, how are you supposed to get away from that? You can't. It's in your brain. Locked in. You're caught. No escaping. Wild. So no surprises there. The vegan podcasts I put out didn't do as well as the other ones. Wonder why that is, eh? I'm gonna share when I finish here. I'm gonna share one of the clips from last week's episode. And if you listen to last week's episode, you'll probably know what clip it's gonna be. It's the one where I call people out for, not being vegan, and how like it's just wrong and how it's morally bad to just allow for animal slaughter. So I will see how that goes down. It'll be interesting to see if it gets buried. There's a few, like, I've noticed lately, there's a few, like, stories and stuff that I'll share that get buried on the Instagram. Interesting. I wonder why. I wonder what criteria they are running off these days. But, yeah. Cool story, Hansel. What else do I got? I said, so last night for dinner, right? I'm gonna crack this. These are amazing, by the way. Low Bros kombucha. The best on a hot day. Today's not a hot day, but you know what? I'm going to have one anyway. Fizzy, delicious. If I could open it. Oh, yeah, that sounds good, doesn't it? Went to Woolies on Friday, and they have these cool, this is Woolworths in Eltham. I don't know if they do it anywhere else. But at the end of like the fruit and veg aisle, they have these cool gourmet displays of like, one of them was tomatoes, and they had like several different types of tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, weird looking tomatoes, black tomatoes. It was crazy. And all like self-serve. So the cherry tomatoes weren't in plastic containers, which is a win. They were like self-serve, so you bring a bag and you fill your bag up with them. And then they had another aisle with potatoes, and they had like several different types of potatoes. And I was like, well, I know what I'm having dinner on Friday night. So I bought a bunch of Hawaiian sweet potatoes, which if you haven't seen them before, they're fucking beautiful on the inside. They're white on the outside, and you peel them, and then when you cut them up, they're like white and purple marbled together. They're fucking awesome. They taste cool, taste really good. I made a mashed potato with them. I also roasted some, and then I bought these other potatoes that were red. They were like as red as beetroot, even like they were moist like beetroot. But they tasted exactly like normal white potatoes. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is insane. you could get so creative with that kind of shit. They were super expensive though, like $9 a kilo. I put them through as normal potatoes, but we'll keep that one between just you and me. They're fucking delicious. They taste like normal potatoes, and they're red, bright red, like beetroot. Yeah, full on. But they were delicious too. And then I bought this other weird animal-looking, this weird alienistic looking vegetable from Coles the other day, and I really found out what it was called after I cooked it. I couldn't figure out what it was called. I thought it was an artichoke or a variation of artichoke, and I think they actually named it incorrectly at Coles, because I remember there being artichoke in there. But beside the point, I put it out yesterday to find out what it was called. I didn't get any answers back until today, and it's a kohlrabi. And I googled it. This was after I'd cooked it, mind you. So how I cooked it was, I was like, great, it's round. I'm gonna chop it up and put it with some Brussels sprouts and roast it with some oil, salt, and pepper. That's how I cooked it. And then I googled it today after finding out what it was called, and the first thing that it says is peel it very thoroughly, as the skin is quite tough and indigestible. And I was like, I didn't have any stomach pains. So does that mean that I have like an iron stomach? Does that mean my stomach's like invincible? Because I didn't feel I didn't feel sick or anything at all. And apparently it's indigestible. So I digested it. Fucking superhuman over here. Maybe it's because I drink so much kombucha. My guts are just like primed and ready to digest. Sorry. I want to get on to a more serious note, right? This is a very serious discussion. I can't remember how it came up, but the topic of test tube babies came up. And by test tube, I mean, what are they called? IVF, I think. IVF babies came up. And then the phrase test tube babies came up, and I was like, man, I wonder what that would be like, growing up in a tube. Because think about it. I know you don't grow up your whole life in a tube, but for me, my mind was test tube baby. My mind went straight to the clone tubes, where people are they grow up in those fucking giant tubes, where they become, normal sized people, where clones are grown. That's how I'd imagine it. If you're a test tube, if you're, made from a test tube, do you grow up in a tube, like a giant clone tube? And then one day you're born, and then you're like, cool, I'm a person now. You don't actually grow up in a womb. I don't know. That's where my mind went straight away. And I was Googling to find out what a clone tube was called. Because I was like, I wonder if it's a clone tube or if it's something else. And I Googled clone tube, and you will never guess what the first suggested question was. It was, is cloning illegal? And I was like, I didn't even know cloning was possible. Yet it is already illegal. It is already illegal, and I don't even know if it's possible. I'm actually going to check if it's possible, because that's something I didn't go into. Is cloning possible today? Oh, here we go. There is currently no solid scientific evidence that anyone has cloned human embryos. Damn it. That would have been cool. Imagine having a bunch of clones. You could get away with so much shit. You could do so many things if you had a bunch of clones. But then, would you get jealous? Would you get jealous of your own clone? If you had, if there were 100 yous, if you cloned 100 versions, let's keep it realistic, If you cloned 10 versions of you, right, and you're like, cool, let's go do all this stuff. Let's go tick all these boxes. I want to do this. One person want to get really smart, one person really strong, one person really fit. You're going to, follow up this business. You're going to follow up this business. Great, let's go. 1, 2, 3, break. What happens if one of you becomes super successful and the other one's aren't that great? And then the real you is isn't as successful as the one of the clones. Are you gonna get jealous of the clone and fucking take it out and kill it to take its place? Or would you be super happy and then the clone would become its own person? Would the clone become its own person? These are the big questions that we need answered. These are the big questions we need to answer before we start cloning people. Far out. That's crazy, man. But it's crazy, dude. That's a topic for that fucking, that segment when I bring that shit back. Wild. So clones, eh? Interesting. I can't remember if I've told this story before, but I mentioned it to someone while I was in the sauna. It was about like running in the dark. So where I run, there's this is not the story that I'm going to tell, but this is the story that preambled that story that I'm going to tell in a second. Where I run, right, it's, there's this girl that runs at stupidly early in the morning. This is before it started. This is before daylight saving, so it was dark. She would be running at like 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, pitch black with these headphones on, the double over-ear headphones. No torch, in complete darkness, just running along by herself. And I was like, that's fucking wild, man. Like, I don't even like running in the darkness. And she's out there just fucking running along with double headphones. I don't wear headphones when I run at night, but in the dark, because I like to know what's going on around me. She wears double earphones and has no light. That's fucking bonkers, dude. I'm terrified for her. Like, I wouldn't recommend doing that. No. But that's not the point. Point is, I remember running along that trail, and it was complete darkness. I've probably mentioned this before when it happened, but I was running along, right? It was dark. I had my torch, and I was running, and then I got to this. I was running along the track, and there were these two kangaroos. One was up a little bit on the ledge, and one was on the path. And the one that was on the path kind of ran off and, disappeared into the bushes. And then I was like, cool, kept running. And then the one on the top of the ledge decided to come down and like meet me on the path. And I was like, fuck, took a left, hid behind a tree. And the kangaroo followed me to the tree. And I was like, no, I just want to keep running. It was stupid o'clock in the morning, dark, foggy. I was like, I don't want to be here. I just want to just let me fucking run. And I peeked my head around the tree, and it was still there. It was just standing there looking at me. And I was like, dude, I was being very courteous, because I know whenever I see animals, I don't like to shine my bike light in their eyes, because it's like bad. Like, imagine getting hit with high beams when you've been looking at darkness for, all night. Like, that's the last thing you want. And I was like, don't upset it by flashing your light in its eyes. So I was sitting there behind the tree. I was like, how do I get out of this? Because I've been chased by a kangaroo before, and it's not fun. It's terrifying because they're pretty quick. So I was like, how do I get out of this? And I was like, you know what? I have a great idea. I'm going to start barking. So I started barking like a dog, like, woof, woof, woof. And I checked, and it was still there. I was like, fucking hell, it's not moving. So I was like, I'm going to have to give it some. Like, I had to suck in some deep breaths, and then I had to give it some big, big, big barks. And it eventually, nicked off enough for me to get out. And I was convinced that it didn't leave because it was scared. I'm convinced that the kangaroo left because it was like, this guy's weird. I feel uncomfortable being around him. I'm going to go and eat grass somewhere else. And then just, then he just bounced. He was like, fuck this, dude, I'm out. Yeah. And then, like, while running the rest of that run, I was thinking about kangaroos, obviously, as I've been chased before, and it's not fun, it's terrifying, even if a small one. Like, them motherfuckers can gut you. They can kill you pretty easily. So I was like, I wonder if any kangaroos have realized that they have that potential. And like, what if they did realize? What if one day a kangaroo like was in a situation with a person like me, and like, instead of me barking to scare it off, I decided, no, fuck this guy, I'm gonna go out and just chase him and scare him off. What if it turned around and just fucked the human up? Like, got him real good, and the human was just laid out on the ground, and the kangaroo was like, it's pretty easy. I didn't have to do much. What if he went back to his kangaroo gang and was like, guys, those things that we see running around all the time, really obnoxious, loud, always with fucking these drinks in their hands, talking shit. We can take them out pretty easy. They're not that hard. We're scared of them, but when they're not in their cars, they're pretty fucking easy to kill. What if he went back and said that to all his kangaroo mates, and his kangaroo mates were like, really? I'm going to have a crack. And then they start going out and like start to realize, and the energy starts to shift. But then then obviously the kangaroo government turns around and says, no, none of this woke bullshit. Like, we've got to shut this down. And then those kangaroos all of a sudden get hit by cars. Whoa! They get pushed out in front in the fucking darkness, and game over. I wonder if that's happened in the kangaroo underworld. Guess we'll never know. But that then led me to think about animals communicating and how they communicate. And we assume that animals communicate the same way as us, right? We assume that they would communicate by noises coming out of their mouth. Would we not? But think about it. Like, think about in the context of dogs or cats, mainly dogs, because I have 2 dogs. Do you ever hear 2 dogs like barking at each other to communicate when they're just chilling? Like, no. The only time they bark is when they're trying to make loud noise for things in the distance. You never really hear 2 dogs bark at each other to communicate. So that led me to think, I was like, how do they communicate? Well, you sit there, like I've done it. You sit there trying to communicate with your dog. You're like, woof, 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 woof. Ooh, ooh. What are you doing? That to them probably means nothing. They probably like look up and they're like, what is this fucking guy talking about? Jesus. Like, what if they communicate telepathically? Unrealistic for that one. But my theory, my theory on this one is they communicate by scent and body language. That's actually probably something I should Google live on the show. Hey, how do dogs communicate? Perfect. Dog communication is the transfer of information between dogs, no shit, as well as dogs and humans. Dog vocalizations or auditory communication can include barks, growls, howls, whines, whimpers, screams, pants, sighs. Dogs also communicate via gustatory communications, utilizing scent and pheromones. I knew it. See, they do make noise, yes, but they also communicate via scent. Dogs communicate in many ways, and so quickly that we must learn these signals if we are to understand how they interact. Dogs greet one another with a familiar pattern, circling one another and sniffing each other's muzzle, then genital area. Body signals are the next important communication method. So yeah, everything I said, I was basically spot on. And I promise I didn't Google this shit before. I'm just in tune. I'm just in tune with nature. It must be because I'm a vegan. Yeah. Fucking crazy though, right? Like, we assume that everyone communicates the same way as us because we think we're the best, right? Because humans are the best. We're the best at everything. But they say that, if you were to throw a human conscience or a human mind in a dolphin's conscience or something like that, that we would they look at us and think these guys are fucking stupid. Whereas I fucked that up completely. Basically what they're saying is, if you were to put dolphin conscience in a human body, the dolphins would do way more than we've done because they're smarter than us. We're not as smart as them. It's just that they don't have hands. They can't do shit. They can just swim. They can't really pick up stuff and build stuff because they don't have the hands for it. Whereas we do. We're just dumb. But yeah, we assume everything communicates the same way we do, vocally. But it's not necessarily the case. Like, how the fuck do you think ants communicate, dude? Like, I have a theory on how ants communicate, but how do you think ants communicate? They all do they do what they're supposed to do. How do bees communicate? I guess buzzing's their fucking wings. How do you think they communicate? My theory on that is insects and like small bugs and stuff communicate at a high frequency, like a super high frequency. I think I've mentioned that before. Like, their voices are just super high pitched. We can't hear it, so high pitched that we can't hear it, but other insects and bugs and stuff can. So they're sitting there like screaming at the top of their lungs, and we can't hear shit. It's like when you're about to step on an ant or something. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then we can't hear it because it's so high pitched. I don't want to do it into the mic because I don't want to blow your fucking eardrums out. But yeah, wild Wild. All that shit's just mind-boggling to me. But yeah, cool story. Oh, I need to take a breath. Hey, I've been chatting non-stop. What's been going on with you guys, huh? How you been doing this week? Had a good week? Well, I'm going to give you 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Tell me how your week's been. What have you been up to, huh? Enjoying everything being open back up. If you're in Melbourne, gym's open. I know I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying swimming. It's been really nice. Like, it's been sore. My lats, everything, like the first couple of 100 meters always gets me good. Always gets me real good. But, after that, then it like everything breaks up and it feels good and I get in a good route, get into a good groove. Yeah, far out. It's crazy we were locked down for that long. I'm crazy the weather this weekend too, hey. It's like, it is so shit. I thought it was going to be good. Last weekend was fantastic. It was polar opposites. Last weekend's run off the bike, I almost died because I was dehydrated. And this weekend's run off the bike, like, it wasn't easy, but I had to run faster because there was so much water and it was so cold. I wanted to try and stay warm. So I had to, put the rocket boosters on and get out of there. Get the fuck out of there, Crazy. So I go to Zenden frequently and they have these choc chip tahini cookies. And vegan, obviously. And I was like, they're so yum. I was like, you can't put tahini in a cookie, but they're fucking delicious. So I was like, I'm going to try and make them. I'm going to have a crack. So that's what I did yesterday. Made tahini cookies, obviously, because I'm not working at the moment. So I was like, you know what? Because I'm recording this on Saturday, the 13th of November. I made choc chip tahini cookies and fuck, they were pretty good. I'll put up a video tonight on actually it won't be tonight. You will have seen it while I'm recording this, hopefully. If not, go and check it out. It's delicious and it's pretty simple. Made them, whipped them all up. So much sugar, not healthy cookies, delicious cookies. Whipped them all up, did it all, and it was like, I read the recipe and it was like, yield is 2 dozen. And I looked at the cookies that I had on the tray. I was like, I've got 6. I was like, how the fuck do you get 2 dozen out of this shit? So I chopped them in half. So I got 12. Anyway, long story short is they lasted about 4 hours. And then they were gone because they were delicious. So I will be making more at some stage. Maybe tonight because I don't have to cook dinner because I left over roast potatoes and mashed potato and, what is it called? The kohlrabi, leftover kohlrabi to eat. So I'll be having that for dinner, which is yum. How's my watch tan? Look at that. Delightful. I forgot what I was going to say, dude. Lost my train of thought. Wild. While I was running. That's what I was going to say. Big news out of my camp. I was talking to a mate, and we were just talking about stand-up and, like, how it would be to do an open mic. And I've thought about it a lot. I've thought about it fucking heaps lately. I'm just grabbing my COVID toy to play with. I've thought about it so much lately because I never realized it was something that I wanted to do. I never thought of it as something that I wanted to do. It just, lived in my head. It just never occurred to me as something that I could do. And I've just been thinking about it, and I was talking to him, and he's going to go and do an open mic sometime in the next couple of months. And I was like, maybe I think I'm going to do it. So I made the commitment. I was like, I want to do it by the end of the year. But then I realized we're already halfway through November. That gives me a month and a half to kind of write material long enough or come up with something good enough to go on stage. So I think I'm going to try and do it. If it's not this year, it'll be the start of next year. Before the end of Jan, I'd like to go on stage and do something at like an open mic, I think 5 minutes or whatever, and just see what it's like, get a feel for it. Go in there expecting to bomb. And if I don't, it's not the worst thing that's going to happen to me. I've already had it happen to me before, in high school, primary school. But earlier on, like, I reckon I'll try it. I reckon I'm going to try and work. I think I'd like to tell stories, just some funny shit. So I reckon that kangaroo story, might be something. So if I tell it a couple of times, ignore me, apologize. I might be trying to work out the wording for when I take it to the stage. But yeah, I think that'll be one story that I try and go. I just got to figure out how to word it or weave it into some other shit, you know. I got to figure out ways to weave it together. But big news is I'm gonna go and do an open mic. So fucking stay tuned. Hopefully it happens this year. I'm going to actually allocate like an hour or so or a couple of hours on a certain day and sit down and write stuff, write material, write jokes, because like I have a lot of shit going on in here. Like I actually have a notepad with 6 or 7 jokes written down that I've just thought of because they're stories that have happened to me. And I'm like, you know what, this is funny. I'm going to write this shit down. But yeah, big news, eh? It's funny because I was never ever good at public speaking when I was growing up. Never good. And like, I was thinking about it while I was running today too. I was never good at public speaking when I went up through high school, even like late primary school. I hated it. I was traumatized by it. And I was like, maybe that has links to when I bombed out in primary school. So I was thinking about it today. I was like, what did I go up there with my talent? What did I bring to the table? And I'm pretty sure, I don't think I even told a joke. I'm pretty sure I just got up there and started laughing like a psychopath, which is wild because that, can you imagine if you went to a show and the person on stage just started fucking laughing? That's fucked. That's some Jim Carrey shit. You would think this guy's loopy as. He can't be trusted. That's how I did it though. Just got up there and started cackling. So I don't think I had any material, which no wonder I bombed. And then I think that's stuck with me. And then that's the reason I hated public speaking for so long. But I was never good at it growing up. I would always like bury my head in my notes, never look up at the class. Hated looking up at the class. I would always just bury my head in the notes. And then, just power through it. I'd read it out in practice. It'd be like, say, a 6-minute speech. And I'd be like, great, I'll read it. And then when I was reading it at my desk, I'd pause for effect at certain things. And I would be like, all right, cool, this, that, read it at a good pace. And I'd be like, fucking awesome. 6 minutes on the dot. I'd get up there and I would just power through it like nothing else. I'd read it like, the government, how they read those government messages at the end of it, like authorised by the Australian government, Canberra. That's how I'd read my speeches. I'd get up there and I would just power through it like that. I'd be like, trees are good because they're green and they produce oxygen and that's a great way to live and breathe. And then I'd be like, shit, I'm finished in 3 minutes and it was supposed to take me 6. What the fuck am I supposed to do? So I think part of that traumatization came from bombing when I was in primary school. But yeah, never been good at public speaking. Always just burned through it. And I just don't know where it all changed, because now I feel like I could do it great. I feel like I don't really care that much. Maybe it's because now I got confidence in myself. But I don't really know where it all changed, because now I feel like I could go up there and I don't really care what happens. Like, if people don't think I'm funny, then that's great. I find myself funny. Yeah, that's all that really matters. I don't give a fuck what you motherfuckers think. No, but I feel like I don't take myself that seriously anymore. I used to be, all in my head about it, but now I feel like I don't really care that much. And it just doesn't seem like such a big deal. Maybe even this podcast, I didn't think that it would be something that I would do. I didn't think that it'd be something I'd enjoy, but I do. I love it. I love talking to you guys. And now that I've got a fucking camera and I understand how to edit videos properly and put them together, I can talk to the camera and on the podcast, and it's like I'm public speaking. It's pretty cool, way to do. I said that too many times. It's a pretty good way to think. And to think how far I've come is wild. I used to get up in front of the class and I would be I'd go bright red and I would just bury myself in my notes and I wouldn't want to look at anyone until I was finished. But now it feels like if you give me any topic, you give me a topic that I am half versed in, I could spin shit for 10 minutes on that topic, no sweat. I could just get up there and just talk shit about something for 10 minutes without fucking, without missing a beat. All I got to do, it's the first, like, I'll win or lose it in the first minute or 2 minutes. All I got to do is find an angle and I am fucking on. Whereas back then, fuck no. Like, nowadays you say, let's just use the example of trees, right? Let's see if I can do this live on the air, hey? If not, then... you know what? Rest in peace. Let's use the topic of trees, right? Let's see if I can spin shit for 10 minutes on trees. Oh, it's sad, really, because you look at how many trees and stuff get chopped down for like animal agriculture, for everything, housing, the whole lot. Like, I listened to my parents talk about what the land used to look like back in their day. And it used to be fucking beautiful. Like they said, yeah, we walk through paddocks of fruit trees and paddocks of just, forests of trees to get to dams that were like public dams and stuff like that. They would fish for stuff in the dams and they would walk back home, pick fruit off the fucking trees. And it was just awesome. Whereas nowadays you look around, you're like, there ain't shit. There is no beautiful trees. You have to actually drive. You have to physically, unless you live like out where I live, you have to physically go and drive somewhere to see beautiful trees. And it's because they've all been chopped down for people to put up houses and stuff. It's like, well, like, yes, I understand the fact that like a tree could get knocked over. Like there's a tree outside my bedroom that's been fucking chomped on by termites. And every time it gets windy, I look at it, I'm like, that bitch is going to fall down. Thankfully, I've, run the schematics on it, and it doesn't look like it's going to hit my bedroom. But, I was like, fuck, probably should chop it down. Like, I get a lot of people clear trees because they don't want them to fall on their house or fall on their cars or, bushfires as well. But trees are beautiful. They allow us to fucking survive. I actually saw something pretty funny, and it was like... trees get all the credit for producing all the oxygen in the world, when reality is it's actually microplankton that does, I think 80% of turning carbon dioxide into oxygen, whereas trees get all the credit. They're giant. Like if you've ever watched, I think they mentioned it in a couple of David Attenborough's his Netflix documentaries or whatever. They're like big things, big patches of plankton that float in the ocean, and they're responsible for, churning most of the carbon dioxide into oxygen. But, yeah, trees are beautiful, and I think it's funny that we chop all these trees down, and then we have these giant tree planting, fundraisers. It's like, yeah, come and plant a tree, it'll be great. It's like, well, fuck, if we stopped chopping them down, we wouldn't have to keep planting them, would we? It's fucking bonkers. But yeah, and I remember back in the day, I don't know if you guys got told this too, but it was like, don't use paper. You're using up all the trees. We're not using up all the trees for fucking paper. We're using them up for other shit. We're chopping them down to make way for fucking factories and farms and, mines. Like, imagine, have you seen how big a fucking mine is? Imagine all the shit that gets, chopped up to make way for a mine just so we can dig out coal or, other minerals and shit like that. We're not losing trees because of the fucking paper we're using, because I got a notepad that I want to write on. That's not chopping down all the trees. It's other shit that you don't expect because we're not told that that's the reason. Like, it's the same thing. It's like, got to drink milk because it makes you strong. I don't drink milk. I'm pretty strong. I drink almond milk, or not even almond milk. I drink soy milk, and I'm strong. And I don't have fucking boobies. I do have pecs though. But you know what I mean? Like, we're told things when we grow up. Oh, don't use paper because, you're going to waste the trees, or the trees will get chopped down. It has nothing to do with it. I remember the same David Attenborough documentary. If you watched it on Netflix, the one about our planet. I think a lot of the trees in the Amazon get ripped down because they need to plant palm oil trees or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the trees were that they were planting, or cocoa oil or something like that. I think they were palm oil, and that's the blah, 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 blah. They're the same. That's the reason you don't buy stuff with palm oil in it, because you're endangering orangutans, because they're chopping down all the trees the orangutans live in, like I think bordering the Amazon or places like that, to plant fucking palm oil trees, and it's not good. So, you know what? Use all the paper you want. Stop consuming palm oil and just try and leave a smaller ecological footprint. I don't remember if I spoke about this on this podcast too, but I was on Rogan's and they were talking about solar panels and how, like, yeah, that's right, I think I did, nuclear power, how nuclear power should be the way of the future. Because even solar panels, like, when you're done with a solar panel, like, you just fucking throw it out. And it's the same waste, but inside the solar panel there's like mercury and it's like toxic, which is bad for the environment. It's bad for people that end up with it, bad for people that are exposed to it when it's broken, because if you break it then you end up with fucking poisoning and die. It's, ridiculous. Whereas nuclear power, you store a little piece of plutonium and you keep it in a case somewhere, and that plutonium is enough to power someone's home for their entire lifetime. That's the way it should be, or that's a better, more efficient way than, coal power or solar power or fucking wind power, because, it's wasteful to a certain degree. But yeah, I think that's enough about trees and solar energy. I went into that shit last week, eh? Almost did 10 minutes, 7 minutes or 6 minutes. Ain't that bad, eh? It's pretty efficient. Pretty efficient, mate. I'm just gonna write that shit down. I wasn't gonna record the podcast today. I was gonna record it tomorrow, and I was like, you know what? Caitlin's going out tonight. She's not here, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking rip this shit out today. That way I can edit it, put the video and stuff together, start chopping up clips, get this shit ready to go. Make sure I get all the fucking timestamps in there. Put my time to the test. No, make efficient use of my time is what I was trying to say. I was going to just lie down and have a sleep. I get pretty whacked out after my Saturday brick sessions. It's exciting though. I feel better. Like, today was, it was big. It was solid. I feel better than I have in the past. Obviously, this is, my third year round of this whole thing. This whole Ironman shiz, and I feel better than I have in the past. So it's exciting. I'm excited to see what I can do in Geelong. I think my goal, I haven't really formally written this down, but I'm going to make this clear. I'm going to set the goal here live on the show. Got to find out what I did Geelong in last year though. So bear with me while I scroll back. Thankfully I haven't posted that much on Instagram this year. No, there we go. Yeah, I haven't posted as much as I did in the past. I actually did a deep dive on myself. 4:53. Yeah, I want to come in under 4:40. 4:40 or 4:30 is what I want my Ironman to be, which is doable. I just got to do better on the run. So for Geelong, I want to do... For Geelong Ironman, I think my goals are... I would like to swim in... What did I do last time? I did 28 swim, I think. I'm just going to have a look to see if I did post my splits. I apologise if this is annoying, but I want to make sure I do it right. I don't think I posted my splits. No, I didn't. You cheeky bugger. I want to swim in sub 28. I think my record is like I always swim in the 28, so I'd like to swim 26, 27. Got a few months to get my swimming back up. And then for my ride, I'd like to average around 35. What did I average last time? I average around 35 k's an hour. So 90 divided by 35 is 2.5 hours. Yeah, if I can do it in 2.5 hours, that would be fucking awesome. I think I did it in 250 last time, so big improvement. I feel like I got the legs this year to do it, as long as I look after myself. It's my left glute and hip flexor that let me down heaps, that have been letting me down a bit lately. But yeah, I'd like to ride in 2.5 hours and then run. What did I run it in last time? I don't know, but I'd like to run it in maybe an hour and a half. What would that give me? Quick maths. I don't have the ability to quick math. So 27 plus, say, 2 hours for the ride, 2 hours for the swim and the run, and then 2.5 hours, 4.5. Fuck. So if I do that and then my transition's just smooth as shit, then I can do it in 4:40. 4:30. So let's see if we can do it. Let's see if we can tick those boxes, eh? But yeah, going back to my hip and my glute, I have been, I did some stretching yesterday. It's just been, it's been aching, been really tight, really sore. I did some yoga yesterday. Maybe that's why I haven't done, today it's not too bad. I haven't done yoga a lot in the last 2 weeks. I did, for the first time yesterday, get back on the yoga train. So maybe I got to do some later on today. I say, I'm going to do stuff after this. I'm just going to record this and go eat dinner and then go to bed. That's how it's done in this town, bro. Yeah. Hip and glute are giving me a bit of grief, but you know what? I'm not gonna fall trap to getting injured again. Speaking of that, I can't believe I forgot to tell you this. When did I last run? From last Sunday, I did one more trail run. I think I mentioned it on this podcast when I recorded it, because I recorded it when I got back from that run. I did a trail run, and my soleus, which is your Achilles calf around there on the inside, started to hurt. And I was like, I don't like this. I think it was from the hills, which I later found out to be true. I was like, I don't like how this feels. It's not that great. Got through Monday. Monday was a ride and a swim, and I was like, okay, it's fine. Ran Tuesday, and it flared up again, and I was like, oh, this hurts a bit. I don't know how I feel about it, but still got all my run done. And I was like, you know what? Fine. Live to fight another day. Did some strength at Arvo. Then woke up and ran on Wednesday morning too. And oh boy, by the end of the run on Wednesday, it was not good. I was running uphill, and I was like, I think my Achilles is going to snap. That's how bad it felt. It was so painful. And I went to take my socks off, and I would twist it in the wrong way, and I'd be like, oh, it would burn. So I was pretty worried. I messaged Nicola, and I was like, hey, my soleus is, feeling a bit worse for wear. I don't think I can. I'm just going to leave it and see how I go. I was really worried. I managed to ride on Wednesday afternoon. I had a trainer set, and it was pretty hard, pretty tough. So I didn't think I'd get through it, but I did. I managed to do it fine, and I was like, great. I can ride. Worst case scenario, I just don't run until next week, and then we get back on the train. And then I obviously had Thursday, Friday to, off it, and then today running on it again for my brick session. I was pretty worried because it honestly felt like my Achilles was going to snap. And I was like, I have to run home. I was like, but if my Achilles snaps, I'm fucking done, dude. I'm out. That's it. I'm on the side of the road. I'm crawling back. I'm army crawling. And I ain't got no Achilles to run on. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Anyway, long story short, not really short, long story long, today was fine. It was great. So I did a bit of research when it started hurting again on Wednesday. I was like, what makes your soleus sore? And one of the top reasons was, an increase in volume, increase in elevation without properly building up to it. And I was like, that's what did it for me. I went from running 150, 200 meters of elevation a week to running to running close to 1,000 a week for 6 to 8 weeks. So that's exactly what did it. Thankfully, tomorrow I'm back to running on flatter ground. Got to transition this hill strength into speed strength for Geelong. So back on the flatlands tomorrow, which will be good fun. I don't even know where to run now. I don't know where to get that much distance that's not from home. I'm just so used to running from home. All my long runs for the past 2 months, 2 or 3 months, 2.5 months have been from home. So we'll have to wait and see. I might actually map that shit in Strava once I'm done on here. All right. I'm going to pause for a sec because I want to change the battery on my GoPro. And I am back. Sorry. Well, actually, for you, it's a split second. But for me, it was a little bit longer than I thought. I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to transfer the audio visual file from my GoPro onto my computer to free up space. I wouldn't expect it to be that, but I wouldn't expect it to be that big and take that long, but because it's filming in 4K, it fucking took 12 minutes, 15 minutes, and I was like, oh, okay, what do I do now? So I had some corn chips while I waited. But it led me to say, I was scrolling Instagram, right, and I came across this, and I was like, I was baffled. What is going on? Oh, I was posting something. I was baffled, right? I would have thought horsepower was one horse. Wrong. Although it may seem safe to assume that 1 horsepower is the output of a horse is capable of creating at one time, that is incorrect. In fact, the maximum output of a horse can be up to 15 horsepower, and the maximum output of a human is a bit more than a single horsepower. For extreme athletes, this output can be even higher, with Tour de France riders outputting around 1.2 horsepower for 15 seconds and just under 0.9 horsepower for a minute. I always imagined that a horsepower was a horsepower, but it's not. A horsepower... No. Yeah, horsepower is like 1/15th. I'm so confused. But I just don't like that fact. Anyway, yeah, I don't know where my math was going with that one, but let's just move on so we can forget about it. That took longer than I thought it was going to take to transfer on, but, here we are. Just before I jumped on here, I actually listened or watched on YouTube Mark Norman's comedy special, and it was very funny. It baffled me because I'm thinking of this whole stand-up thing and thinking about writing jokes and all that kind of stuff. I was like, if you listen to his comedy, his cadence is very quick, so he drops in a lot of jokes he's just constantly pumping jokes out there, like bang, 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 punchline after punchline after punchline for like an hour. And I was just like, how the fuck? That must take so much work to write an hour of material if your joke is just line after line after line. Like, he will just hit you with fucking 3 lines in the space of, 1 sentence. It's ridiculous. Yes, I got a lot of respect for that, man. Because if I was to do it, like, I'm going to have a crack. My stuff's going to be more, story orientated. I'll just tell stories about stuff with a funny twist. I might put a bit of mayo on them as well. Vegan mayo, obviously. But I might put a bit of mayo on the stories. But, a bit of a twist, a comedic twist. Not punchlines, not fucking one-liners. That'd be a lot of work. Wild. But I was going to just let the podcast, I was just going to keep filming until it ran out, but I was like, it's annoying when it runs out and I don't know it, because the time gap, it's harder to line up the audio, basically, whereas when I know I can stop it at the same time, it's easier than if it just runs out, because it'll stop, but then I'll miss 5 seconds or so, and then it's just weird to try and line it up. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to stop it early, reset it, and then roll with the punches. But I went and saw the dogs as well, and it reminded me, when I was riding this morning, they were both outside, and I could see them in front of where my bike was. And Hudson, the older one, went out to take a wee, and then Axel runs out there to wee with him, and they both were right up next to each other. Axel decided to rub butts with Hudson, and they both peed in the same spot. I thought it was very funny. I tried to take a photo, but I wasn't quick enough, unfortunately, which is funny because Axel wheezes for legit 2 or 3 minutes. I shit you not. I have a video of him on my phone. I was going to post it to Instagram. He weed for 2 minutes. And the way he I might actually share it. So if you see it, laugh, react it. The way he wheezes, it's unorthodox, man. But it's because he gets tired of standing there for so long. In the morning, first thing in the morning, you let him out to do a wee. He'll fucking wee for 2 minutes. Dead set. Without a doubt. Crazy. Oh, I just got a shooting pain. Imagine if I fucking wiped out on the podcast. That'd be a pretty crazy, pretty wild way to go. Footage of it on the GoPro. Wild. Yeah. I wonder what I'm going to call this episode. Maybe I'll call it something relating to kangaroos. I didn't really touch on anything important in this, did I? Nah, I seem to just be... I got to pick topics and talk about them, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't know what to talk about. If you got any topic suggestions, fucking shoot them through, because I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what topics to speak of. I like just jumping on and talking shit about a bunch of different stuff. Maybe I should pay more attention to the news and pick a news topic to rant about and talk about that. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm going to do. But you know what? It's Saturday. Good vibes around. Finished my training. Sorry if you can hear me swallowing. It's annoying. I know I get annoyed when I can hear that shit on other people's podcasts. So it'd be bad if I was doing it to you guys on my own podcast, wouldn't it? Yeah. Fuck, I'm gonna wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, dog. Wrap it up in a nice neat bow and pass it off to the fellow. Oh, shit. Imagine if I tried to do something on stage and that happened. And I was like, imagine if I got up there and it turned out I was a robot and I wasn't actually human. And I just got up there and I just started short-circuiting. And then, yeah, truth was out that I wasn't actually human as a robot. Someone actually does call me Terminator, so it's not too far-fetched. But yeah, if you've got topics, send them through. I like talking about a bunch of different things. I don't like talking about the same thing all the time. I like talking about a bunch of different things. So send them through. Happy days. I will speak to you guys next week. Have a fucking fantastic week. Remember, you're capable of awesome fucking things. I need a cool way to sign this off. Remember, guys, you are awesome, capable. You are... Fuck. Reset. Sorry. Remember, guys, you are awesome. You are capable of wonderful things. But above all, just remember, barking at a kangaroo doesn't always scare it off. Or it doesn't always scare it off because it's scared of you barking. You got to try harder. So sometimes you just got to put the fruit where the apple lies and, have a crack at looking at the palm trees. Drink the water, then turn it into wine. Don't lick the grapes. Chop them in half, put them in a fruit salad, eat it with some vegan yogurt. Don't put the granola on it though, because you're going to have that in a bowl with some orange juice. Have a good day. Peace out. Enjoy the outro music.